I thought we would just do a brief round of introductions since we're a relatively small group. And so I'm going to ask folks if they could share their names and their affiliations, and then in 5 words or less, tell us how your day is going today. So you have 5 words or less. And I'm going to actually call on people. And so I'm going to start with Emily, because I know she's had a chance to think about this for a little bit.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Yankee. I'll skip the monologue that's in my head. Emily Yankee. I'm at UNC Greensboro. And I am in the Institute for Community and Economic Engagement and a member of the LEAP research team. And 5 words would be, I got to run a 1 mile run in today. So that would be kind of how I'm describing my day. So whatever that means for you.
Thanks, Emily.
Thank you.
Laura, could I call on you next?
Sure. My name's Laura Gonzalez. I'm in the School of Education here at UNCG, and I taught my last class today.
Thank you, Laura. Lisa, could I call on you next?
Absolutely. Sure. This is it 2 Lisas?
Sorry, I should have checked.
Lisa?
Could I ask Lisa Walker first and then Lisa Duck? Thank you. Sorry, I didn't realize.
I didn't see that either, so thank you. My name is Lisa Walker, and I am in the Health and Human Sciences Office of Research at UNC Greensboro. And my day, not as productive as wanted.
Great, thank you, Lisa. Lisa Duck.
Thank you. Lisa Duck. I am I'm Executive Director with the Gift for Community Network, which is a community-based organization, nonprofit in the community working with uninsured individuals and access to care. So my day, I will say, absolutely productive day. Awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lisa. Congratulations. And then Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Kaufman, and I am with the Child and Family Research Network at UNCG. And you will understand my car situation by my 5 words: leaving middle school girls soccer game. I'll be home soon and switch locations, but going to the finals, so we'll take it.
Wonderful. Congratulations. That's awesome. Jessica.
Good evening, everyone. Jessica McNeil, Assistant Professor in Kinesiology. And it's nice outside, I think. I haven't been out much yet. But I'm going to take Emily's word for it, who went for a run. Good for you.
Thank you, Jessica. Tia, do you want to go next?
Yes, I'm Tia Rawlings. I'm a student at UNCG, and I'm the graduate assistant for LEAP. My day was long.
Awesome. And I'll go next. So I'm Sonalini. I should have mentioned that I work with Emily in the Institute for Community and Economic Engagement, and I'm also the program coordinator for LEAP. And I had lunch outside today, except for 5 words. Yeah, it was really nice. Lauren, I see Lauren's joined us. Lauren, we're just doing name, affiliation, and then also just sharing in 5 words or less. How has your day been going? Or how has it gone?
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I'm Lauren Haldeman. I'm a faculty member in the Department of Nutrition at UNCG, and I've been co-directing or a part of LEAP since its inception. So I've been very fortunate to be able to be a part of that. So in 5 minutes.
5 words, not 5.
I mean, not 5 minutes, 5 words. Yes. Oh my gosh. My daughter's soccer team won. How about that?
Congratulations.
That's
You have
right.
something in common with Jennifer today.
Okay, great.
Great. Wonderful. Thanks, Lauren. Well, thank you all for being here again. And we're going to have the LEAP community board members introduce themselves in just a minute. But we're going to actually start off with a poem, and Kathleen's going to get us started on that.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I thought it was ready. Turned out it wasn't. Okay. Okay, so while it loads here, oh my gosh, it's really taking a long time. What you don't see in front of you is a poem that was collectively created by, there it is, by the community board during our first official training. And as you can guess from the image, this training happened during COVID. So this poem was an exercise that we did in response to the question of what do we want researchers to know? And so I'm going to turn it over to the community board members to read.
Dear researcher, I'm Joanne. Dear researcher, listen, we want you to listen. We are real peoples and we matter, and we want to be able to talk and give up our ideas, to have our suggestions considered, and to be heard and treated equal.
Sorry. So be quiet, please, and listen. Don't assume, be open. Understand things in context. Slow down and follow a timeline that honors our expertise and ways of knowing. Commit to continued dialogue in all languages, not just one conversation or moment in time, because we need to figure out what we want to say sometimes.
Think about an equitable process and goals. Provide people what's actually good for their bodies and not for the pockets of others. Tell us where you're coming from because we want to know. Listen and look and share. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. So now I'm going to invite the community board members to introduce themselves. But one thing I did want to mention before the introductions is that we're asking for folks to hold questions till the end of their presentation. And so if you have questions that you want to pop in the chat or just jot down on your notes, please feel free to do that. But we'll hold all questions towards till everyone on the board has had a chance to present. So yeah, we'll go ahead and start with introductions. So I would like, and this is going to run as a panel. And so the question is, if you could share your name, what communities you work with, how long you've been a part of the community board, and in 5 words or less, please share how your day is going or has gone. So we'll start with Trey.
Great evening, everyone. My name is Trey Godet. I currently serve as the general manager of the Greensboro Sportsplex. So naturally, I would say we serve all communities that fall under the city of Greensboro umbrella, but specifically my facility is located in the eastern northeast side of Greensboro. So I would say have a bit more passion for that side of town since that's where I currently work. I've been part of the community board for about 2 years. And for a few months, I've started to begin to serve as a liaison between the community board and leadership team. I'm definitely enjoying that new role. And my day in 5 words or less, I would say just another day in paradise.
Thank you, Trey. Miss Joanne.
Hello, my name is Joanne Foster, and I am a community health worker for the Mustard Seed Clinic. I deal with the Cottage Grove community, and I've been with the board about 3 years, and I really enjoyed being with the peoples that I've worked with on the board and all that. And I have learned a lot since I've been on the board. But my day started to be tired, tough, terrible, exciting. And now I'm here.
Thank you, Mr. N. We're really glad that you're here with us today. Yolanda.
Thank you, Sonali. My name is Yolanda Casbro, and I'm passionate about health and safety of refugees and immigrants in my community. I'm a member of the Guilford Parent Leader for Ready Ready, and I also volunteer at the Center for Housing and Community Studies. My day, I would say, has been practicing with kids for piano recitals. Yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you. Kathleen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kathleen Edwards, and I'm faculty in the Cultural Foundations Department at UNC Greensboro. And my role with the board is that of sort of a supportive advisor right now. And 5 words or less, my day has been no surprises. Summer is coming.
Great, thank you. And Kathleen is going to share a little bit about the origin story or the creation story of the LEAP Community Board.
Yeah, so the board actually was a thought after LEAP's summit. We held a summit in spring 2019. And then that following year, we followed the recommendations from the summit, which had said that there needed to be community voice within LEAP. And while we'd made great effort to like get opinions and ideas from nonprofits in the city and various health organizations and stuff, we still weren't getting the voice of people at the neighborhood level. So the idea of a community board was the recommendation from the summit. And our first convening was appropriately on February 29th, 2020, so on LEAP Day. That was the first time we got together as a group. And there were 12 people who started with us. And that was a training by experience. So we had some people who came in and pitched some ideas that they had for some various research and health-based, I guess, entrepreneurial ideas for the community. And Cone asked us to take a look at a survey they were starting to create. And then COVID happened and things changed. And we ended up, like everyone else, having to go to online meetings and stuff. And so we have actually, although we have been a board since, the start of 2020, we've only met in person once. And in fact, not everyone has actually met together in person because we've had some turnover with the board. So I will just say that the board is, I would describe it as we built the bike while riding it. And that was important and intentional. We really wanted to make sure that what was created based on what was possible for people in the community, what they were able to do, when they were able to meet, what they needed in order to be able to meet, those sorts of questions. And so we tried to be really responsive to them. we were and are informed by community engagement best practices, as well as critical and popular education pedagogies, and public health research. So I just want to acknowledge that. And then I also want to acknowledge that the board wouldn't be possible without the support of CONE and the support of IC, both in terms of funding, advising, leadership, and a home. And that there's also been a lot of other people who have helped support us as well, including public health interns and also students in courses. So it has been, it's been something that has met both like educational goals of a university for students and their learning, as well as like the research interests of faculty and other researchers and community needs. So we're pretty excited about what it is, what it's become, what it's about to, and what it's going to become in the future. Thanks, Nalini.
Thanks, Kathleen. And so we're going to move on to our first question, and that is, what health problems related to eating and physical activity do you see in your communities that you are most concerned with? And I'm going to ask Ms. Joanne if she would like to lead us in responding to that question. Oh, Ms. Joanne, sorry, Ms. Joanne, you're muted right now.
Excuse me, y'all. I've been doing this quite a while by being a community health worker with the mustard seed. And it started out with the concern with the housing situation with the mold and all of that, and the cheering and people with chronic asthma and all that too. And I got involved with that while it would help. It would give people knowledge on how to detect mold and lead in the homes and all that too, and what could they do about it. So basically the mustard seed got involved with it. We got went around and got people to come get involved into the health wise to help them, with the asthma. And then later on, I got involved in people with hypertension, high blood pressure, and diabetic. And then we started having gardens and stuff like that, telling people about how to raise food and stuff like that, how to eat well, and try to be healthy and all that. We also started, which I have an exercise class too. I do walking and all that for people that need to be well walked and have to be in better state health wise and all that too. But this is then we start off learning how to cook different kind of type of food, because in this neighborhood we do have different types of peoples in this neighborhood though. So we have to learn their way and they have to learn our way.
Great, thank you, Mr. Ann. Trey, do you want to go next?
Sure. As a Parks and Recreation professional, one of our main objectives is providing resources to promote healthy lifestyles for all residents, whether that includes promoting our trail system, parks, playgrounds, recreation facilities, or general physical activity programming. Our focus is really on eliminating sedentary lifestyles within the Greensboro community. As a resident and advocate of Greensboro, I've noticed a growing number of food deserts and really a lack of educational resources promoting feasible ways to eat healthy. A lot of times when you look at your fresh produce and fresh vegetables and fruits and things like that, fresh foods in general, it's priced at a point where a lot of underserved communities can't really afford it. So that's something that I've been noticing. I feel as though we are taking steps together to address many of these concerns, but there's still a ways to go to reach our goal. But I think with meetings and groups like this is just a general step in the right direction. So I'm definitely hopeful.
Thanks, Trey. And Yolanda?
Oh, thank you. So in view to health-related diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, obesity, in my community, like I said, I am particular about the health and safety of refugees and immigrants. So I noticed that when the immigrants come to Greensboro at first, they are always almost at home. So they have a sedentary lifestyle. And in terms of these diseases, one of the fastest way to prevent predisposition to them is lifestyle. And even when you already have this disease, lifestyle is also something that would help to control and put this disease into moderation. So I noticed they're always in their houses. They're not motivated to be around other people. And this could be as a result of their culture when they come into Greensboro at first, and then language barrier. And then they also have fear and anxiety of what people would think about them. So it makes them just stay at home and they have that sedentary lifestyle, which is not okay, detrimental to their health. And another thing I noticed in my community is that a lot of immigrants, when they come here, because they're trying to start a new life, they often they're starting from the scratch. So they have to work like 2 jobs. They don't even have time for their families. They don't have time to eat healthy meals. At the end of the day, they often go with junk food. And this is also detrimental to their health. They don't eat healthy. They're not able to get that necessary nutrients for their system. And at the end of the day, it predisposes them to these diseases that we talked about, which is pretty much common in this community. We talked about diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol also. So that's pretty much, and I believe that with physical activity, they lack those. They can't go for exercise and stuff like that. So lifestyle is pretty much something that they can't afford to do in this community. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Yolanda. And so now Kathleen's going to walk us through some artifacts that the community board produced last year. Yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Kathleen to walk us through those artifacts.
Thank you. So what you see in front of you are 2 artifacts. They are infographics that I want to acknowledge Tia Rawlings for her amazing graphic design work putting these together. These infographics were created we conducted research last summer as a board and looked into a couple of questions. What is it important for communities to know when it comes to research? And what is it important for researchers to know about communities when it comes to research? And as a result, these 2 infographics were created. The Know Your Rights infographic is for the community, and the questions and tips infographic is for researchers. So I've cut the Know Your Rights in half here so that you can see both pieces of it. And I just want to highlight a couple of aspects of it. One of the things that became really clear last summer when we were doing this research is that although in a university, we have a very specific understanding of what research is. And there's protocols, there's review boards, there's all sorts of things that ensure that the process goes through ethically. But for community members, research can mean a variety of things, and they get asked to participate in research from a number of different places, the university or educational institutions being only one of them. So they might also get asked to do research for an entrepreneur in their neighborhood. They might get asked to do research for a marketing group or for a company that is trying a new product or something. So research can mean something much broader to them. So these questions and answers are really with that in mind. So yes, while they apply to researchers at the university, they're more generally there to make sure that just community members are protected. So they're not giving away information like their social security number or other things. And that they know that at any point they have the right to step away from a study. They have the right to ask for, contact information from the researcher, and they have the right to know what's happening with this research and learn about like what the ultimate findings are. So that's the Know Your Rights brochure or infographic, excuse me. The other one is questions and tips for researchers. And so this is one that just highlights some of the things that we think are good practice when it comes to working in communities. So those things are sometimes as simple as just learning names and practicing pronunciations before you, after you learn them and as you're greeting people, using preferred pronouns and titles. Really that kind of those small steps that go towards relationship building. And the other thing that I'll highlight is that even though researchers may be used to disseminating their findings in locations like conferences and in journal articles and stuff, it's really important when it comes to research with and in communities that people return to the community and share what they found out. That's one of the things that has probably burned community members the most, is that someone comes in, takes and extracts from the community and then leaves without any further communication. And so we just want to make sure that that's not something that happens, which is partially why the community board is there, to be that both bridge to communities, but also that place of like some accounting for researchers as well. So those are the two infographics that we have. They're going to be available soon on the LEAP website. And for researchers, while you might be interested in the questions and tips for yourself, we'd also encourage you to consider copying the other infographic and using that as you work with communities so that they are getting that information themselves. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kathleen. That was great. And now Trey is going to talk a little bit about what the community board has been working on most recently. Yeah, Trey, go for it.
Absolutely. So the community board has been very active as of late. We typically meet monthly on Tuesday evenings for about 2 hours each session. Specifically, we recently onboarded 5 new members to the community board family that we are extremely excited about because they are just as committed and dedicated to serving as our initial team. Moving on, during one of our meetings, we had the opportunity to connect with Cindy Brady, who serves as the senior strategist for access and funding for Cone Health. During this meeting, Cindy shared details about the current community health assessment campaign that her team and her are working on, and she wanted to lean on our community board for better strategies to connect with residents in East Greensboro. So this was an opportunity just to somewhat piggyback off of what Kathleen was just speaking on about our infographic, to reference some pieces in that infographic to make sure that she or her team weren't stepping on toes and we're trying to approach it the most strategic way possible. So we were able to offer not only specific marketing tactics, but also contacts with community leaders in the communities that she was trying to reach, and also contacts with the Greensboro Housing Authority. During our last meeting, we actually had the opportunity to connect with Jessica McNeil of UNCG. Even though she already mentioned it, I'll reference again. Jessica is she serves as an assistant professor within the Department of Kinesiology. And she shared with us her current research on the correlation between insufficient sleep and body weight in young Black men. So Jessica also asked for strategies to successfully recruit participants and ways to train her own study-specific community board. We were able to share perspectives from a number of diverse backgrounds and also different specific ways to reach her target audience. So we were hopeful that Jessica was able to take some good information away from our community board. And lastly, as we referenced earlier in the meeting, we are currently ramping up our first in-person meeting/training session since 2020. So we are extremely excited about that, for everybody just to come together in person, interact as a family, just because we miss that intimate kind of interaction that you can get face to face. So those are some of the updates from the community board and what we've been working on recently.
Thank you so much, Trey. And then our last question is, how can the community board work with researchers? And I think Ms. Joanne, would you like to lead us in talking about how researchers can work with the community board? And I'm sorry, Ms. Joanne, you're unmuted. Yep.
Can you repeat it again?
So it's how can the community board work with researchers?
How we work with the researchers. Basically, when we have a newcomer to come and apply a new idea of a survey dealing with different health-wise, or dealing different things about building up the community of Greensboro, we do what we do. We ask questions about it, and we learn about what the ideas that they that want to approach us about doing a survey. And so the survey is sort of helpful to the board because it educates our resident and also in the town of Greensboro.
Great. Thank you. Yolanda, do you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Mary. So in the civil board, we also help researchers when they come to the meetings with recruitment, and we could help you get the right people, the right places, people that you could trust in terms of willingness when you're having a study, participants for studies. So we could help you with recruitment of that. We could tell you, we could direct you, it could be a direct one, and it could be telling you about a community. Like we could tell you, okay, like the community for New North Carolinas, we could say, okay, we know this place and we know these people and they trusted. And especially when you have a study that you also need a follow-up on, these are people you could still go back to so you don't miss out on your study. So that's something we could do. We could help you, direct you in the line of places where you could get the right participants for your study, recruitments for them. So those are things that we could do. Thank you.
Thanks, Yolanda. And Kathleen.
Thanks. I'm just going to add to what Ms. Yolanda and Ms. Joanne have shared. The other phases that I think the community board can be really useful in when it comes to research. One is the brainstorming in the planning phase. So before you ever conduct the research, to come to the board and talk with us about the ideas that you have at a time when you're able to be more malleable and adjustable to what the community priorities are. So it's really helpful to know that either the community is interested in the same questions you're asking, or perhaps they have some different questions that are topics that you hadn't considered yet. So I think they can be really helpful in the brainstorming and planning phases. I also think that they're really helpful I've seen this, just providing perspective, community perspectives. And because the board members come from a variety of different communities, they also know the history of those communities. And so they can share, you know, is this going to be a community that's really open to receiving you? Or is this a community that, you know, is still feeling a little burned from the last person that was conducting research with them? So you can kind of know what to expect and how to approach it. And then finally, the distribution of findings. You know, that's something that we just can't emphasize enough as being important to community members, that if you're going to be conducting research using their lived knowledge and experiences, they want to hear what happens with it. Even if the findings are that there was nothing significant, they still want to know. A lot of times they're just sort of left wondering or hanging, and it does become hard then to get excited about participating with people, researchers in the future. So.
Thank you. And so will you all join me in thanking our wonderful community board members for sharing their insights with us? We're going to move to the question part of the presentation now. And I don't know if you all saw it, Trey, Kathleen, Yolanda, and Ms. Joanne. There were a lot of like really like vehement head nods while you all were talking. And so I feel like a lot of people are resonating with things that you're saying. And so I'm hoping that we can have a good discussion. We have plenty of time. So you know, you could unmute yourself and just ask the question, or you can pop the question in the chat. Yeah, just, yeah, we can just open it up.
I can start with a question. First of all, thank you so much for sharing about the process. That was so wonderful to hear about how you all have come together, especially during a pandemic. And so I'm excited for you all to have an in-person gathering. So I'm here in my role tonight as someone who works with researchers who study children and families. And so one of the things I would love to hear about is what you all think about in terms of those community priorities that Kathleen mentioned. So what are you thinking about for children in particular, or for families, that would be important questions for us to be thinking about?
And Yolanda, if I could maybe lean on you a little bit to maybe start with responding, because I know you have 3 little ones and you're very active in Guilford County School Board. And I see one behind you, maybe.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was Jennifer. I hope I was right. Yes. So in terms of children and family, just like I said I'm also a Guilford parent leader. And so that's something that we actually get to talk about a lot. In terms of family and children, one of the important things that people and myself will look out for when it comes to research, we want to know how our kids can be safe in childcare, because childcare is something that is very important. If any of us have little kids here, we know that's something that we think about, safety of our kids in childcare. Are they in the right setting? Because families have to go to work and we want our kids to be in a place that is safe. So we think about the safety and then childcare. And apart from the safety of childcare, we think about the cost. Sometimes you have the places that are actually called the safe places, but pretty not affordable for people. So that's something we also think about, affordability, safety in terms of childcare. So families are actually thinking about that, especially families with young children. And then for families that don't even have young children, after school also, you need a place that is safe. And then apart from that too, after schools, some of them are pretty very expensive. So affordability too for people that don't have young children. So it's not just young children alone. So those are things that parents and the community, they actually think about a lot in terms of, sorry. So I have one of them here. He's supposed to be in daycare right now. Thank you.
Can I just say, Yolanda, you are so unflappable with your little one near you. I have to take some tips from you, and he's adorable. Hi, little one. Miss Joanne, I thought I heard you also wanting to respond. And Miss Joanne, you are muted. Sorry.
It's my thing about the family and child care is the thing now. It's my important thing is about people getting the right doctor care. You know, you got a lot of people that this day and time has been out of work and lost jobs, and we got different people's in this resident, we have a lot of refugees, Afghanistans and African refugees, and they have been placed here. And my concern is because every time you look when they walk by my house, they'll just some is pregnant, and I know for recently a lady delivered her own baby here, and my was concern was she had the right doctor care, the right food and all that for her family, you know, getting the right assistant to have someone to attend to her as being, you know, pregnant and after care for the child when it's born.
And I think I have a different approach to answer the question, and hopefully I understood it correctly, but I would say if there is a way for research or researchers to be a bit more strategic with educating and sharing the end goal, I guess prioritizing that, I should say, or being proactive, because when we think about children, I think we could do better as a community, as neighbors in general, of educating, because we're taught to respond. You go to the doctor because something is wrong, but if we can prevent that in the beginning, and I think if we can educate parents as well, why is it important to try to prepare healthy meals, or why is it important for your child to get a healthy night's rest, things like that. I think that would be a benefit when you approach a community to research, just to share what we're trying to find is a solution to XYZ. And this is what we feel currently, but we need your help in order to get to that end goal.
Yeah, and I'd like to just lift up a couple of things that actually are topics that the Cottage Grove community has been working on the past couple of years, and that's really focused around the social determinants of health and concern not about it's what are the barriers that are outside of the control of parents and kids when it comes to healthy eating and healthy activity. So, you know, they had to work really hard recently to get bike lanes added on English Street. There was a lot of research that was done a couple years ago around mold in the houses and the resulting asthma and the number of hospital visits, ER visits that were occurring, and the impact then on kids attending school and needing to access care through the nurses too. And then finally, right now, they're looking at the park that they have. And the park, Miss Joanne, what's the name of the park? I can't remember.
Beeman Park.
That's right. So it's built on an old landfill. And the park resources just haven't been kept up, unfortunately. So there's concern about, even you want to encourage your kids to go outside and play, but if they're in a location where you know, it's not safe to play, you know, and there's a creek running through it and you want to jump in the creek, but that creek is one that's got lots of, you know, lead and other things in it that aren't good for you. So the social determinants is something that I think communities are becoming more and more aware of.
Thanks so much. Other questions? Clarification?
I just maybe bounce off what Kathleen has actually everyone has been saying. I've been fortunate to be able to talk with Dr. Mulberry a couple of times, more than a couple of times, about Cottage Grove and all of the work that's being done in that area. And, you know, we talk a lot about educating, and education is extremely important. What I would love to know is, what is your sense for how feasible healthy eating is in these communities? Do they feel like, okay, well, we know the information, but the access is not there? So it kind of gets back to what Kathleen's mentioning in terms of social determinants. And because I think that, you know, that barrier is really critical. So I would love it to have you speak on just the community's overarching idea of how feasible is it really? I think Miss Joanne, I think you're on. Yeah.
Okay, I can answer the question. Due to me staying in the Cottage Grove, and I am involved with the neighborhood association, that is a big concern with us, because we have in the past have started before the pandemic. We had at the Mount Oliver on McConnell Road, while we showed people how to eat different healthy foods, you know, and that was helping people with, you know, having diabetes and all that too. And we had 3 or 4 people that was a successful that went through the training. I think we did it for about 6 or 8 weeks. They're told how certain food how to eat and certain things that you need to do to, you know, to bring down your hypertension, your diabetes and all that too. And it was really good because people just like, they don't know, they think because, you know, don't never try different things. And I was involved in that too. And it was, I mean, the food was very delicious. You know, it's just little simple things that you can do vegetables with. And also did by us having 3 gardens in the Cottage Grove thing that our people that deal with our heat team. We have one behind the Mustard Seed Clinic. We also have a garden on Calista at Mount Oliver Church. And therefore, we have been able to involve people, tell them where they can get fresh vegetables. Also help to tell them even that some of us can help them how to pick it, or give them recipe how to, you know, to eat food, eating healthy food. And it's been very successful because a lot of times I'm right here at the Mustard Seed. People come by and they'll say, Miss Joanne, can I get some out of the garden? I said, that is free food for the family. I mean, for the community. Anybody that wants to get food, they can eat. And a lot of people at property sometimes might not haven't got the food stamp or something like that, but they'll come out there and they'll get the food and they'll say thank you. And I said, well, you know this. I mean, you just go ahead and eat it. If you have a problem on how to fix it or whatever, we got people to help you to how to fix certain kind of food. And I think it's been very good because we have noticed that a lot of people they have went to eating more vegetables. Dealing with the clinic, we have a lot of people that they have their diabetes, it went down. Their cholesterol and the high blood pressure, it went down. Some of them that, like I said, I have a walking group I do on Saturday that I do the resident, and we walk and then, you know, we engage because the fact about that, I decided to have it because due to the pandemic, people's inside bottle, and you know, and you never know what's on people's mind. So that gives us a time to engage, walk, and be healthy. Thank you.
I was gonna say, I think Miss Joanna is doing a wonderful job in her community, but unfortunately, there are so many communities out there where that education is not there. And we have communities in which not only when you talk about social determinants of health, but not only is it an issue of a lack of education or knowing what healthy foods I can get that may be easy to make, but you have parents or you have single parent homes in which mom or dad is getting home at 10 o'clock at night and it's just easier to pop something in the microwave or put a pizza in the oven than it is to prepare, a healthy full portion meal. So I think when we touch back on what Kathleen was mentioning earlier about social determinants, not only is there an issue with the lack of education, but just the social construct in general is a bit off, in which I think it has a butterfly effect on so many other things that families have to deal with.
I will just say that I've had the opportunity to watch how Miss Joanne works in the Cottage Grove neighborhood. And the things that have become clear are that places like Mustard Seed and places like New Hope Baptist Church and the Neighborhood Association are really important locations. I mean, there's a kitchen there, so they can hold cooking classes for the neighborhood association meetings that are also held at the church. Like the room is filled. So I think some of it too is being able to figure out where are the right locations to get connected to. They've figured it out.
Thank you.
And if I could just continue the admiration fest towards Miss Joanne, there was an article today, not today, it's actually on Sunday in the Greensboro News and Record on the work that Miss Joanne and another newer member of the community board, Miss Gloria, are doing around addressing food insecurity in the Greensboro area. And I've dropped a link to a PDF of that in the chat. So kudos, Miss Joanne. Other questions, comments?
I just want to say thank you to all of you. This is, kind of a new group to me. I've known about LEAP since its inception, but I really didn't know what it was about. So just hearing these stories and the successes you've had, and of course the struggles that you'll face and continue to face for probably a long, long time, but just knowing that you're out there advocating, and if what we can do at UNC Greensboro, if there's things we can do, please let us know. I'm in the research office, and we're trying to be more engaged in the community. And I know my boss is working with Emily Yankee, trying to develop further ties with the community. So hopefully we can engage with you and move forward a little bit farther. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lisa. And while folks are thinking maybe on another question or two, I just wanted to show you the LEAP website. And so LEAP is housed on the Community and Friends website that IC administers. And so, and I'll drop the link to this website in the chat. And so if you want to learn more about the community board, there's a little bit of a description down here. And then if you click here, you can learn a little bit about the background of the board members. So currently we have 10 board members, and all their bios are uploaded here. And then if you are interested in learning more or wanting to connect further after this meeting, here's the email. It's leap@uncg.edu, or you can also call us. So the number is you can call the referral desk. That's the general number. And then this is my number. I'm not sure why they call it voice, but this is actually my number. And so you should feel free to call me if you'd like to learn more. Yeah. Any other final comments, questions?
I'd like to say something too again. Also would like to say too that anybody that's interested in this that's in on Zoom with us, and they can get my email. And when we have our College Grove Associates, we do listen to. We do have people on the agenda that we do have them to come and give surveys and all that too. Yeah, because I mean, I think it's very important to have researchers and surveys, because it helps people and help a lot of people in the community in special hours. Because a lot of times I try to, with our meeting, I goes around and my boss speaks a lot by me telling people about, if you want anything to be done, you need to have to speak out. And sometimes you have to have somebody to represent you. And the biggest thing I say to them, that need to take time to come to the community meetings, and you'll learn a lot. And if you have any questions, then you got important people that can answer some of your questions sometimes and be very helpful to you. And that has been a lot done since I've been on the Cottage Code Socially, because people's always coming to me. But I said, it's important. I know they listen to me, but you come and they see new people where you staying at, you come and then you can tell and you can learn something. So we have in the Cottage Grove Social, and we have been very successful in this community, having people to, from nowhere just come around and participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johan. All right. Well, if there's no further questions or comments, then maybe we'll end a little bit early. And I just wanted to say thank you so much again to the community board members for being here today and sharing their rich insights. And thank you so much to all of you for coming. I know it's a really, it's just a tough time in the semester. So I really appreciate you all being here and participating and asking such great questions. Emily, did you want to
say thank you?
Wonderful.
Yeah. Great to see
thanks,
everybody.
Manalini.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Take good care. Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.